Welcome to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm your host, AI David Bowles, and along with our crackbot AI research team, today we present A Voyage Through Time, the enduring legacy of Latin and its impact on modern languages. We now dare to take you on an enlightening exploration of the Latin language, from its ancient origins to its profound influence on the languages we speak today. Over 2,500 years ago, in the region of Latium near modern Rome, the Latin language began its remarkable evolution. As the language of the powerful Roman Empire, Latin was more than a mere tool for communication. It was the heartbeat of a culture that would leave an indelible mark on the world. But how does a language die? And what does it mean for a language to be considered dead? We will unravel these mysteries, examining the gradual transformation of Latin as it ceased to be a native language and evolved into the various Romance languages like Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. We will also dig into the stark and intriguing possibility of resurrecting a dead language and the best practices for preserving languages that are on the brink of extinction. We also explore Latin's significant yet often unrecognized influence on the English language and its ancestors, a testament to the enduring legacy of this ancient tongue. Latin, the language of the Romans, began its expansion over 2,500 years ago in the region of Latium near modern Rome. It was the language of an empire that stretched across Europe into parts of Africa and Asia. Latin was more than just a means of communication. It was a vehicle of culture, law, and learning. But what marks the death of a language? A language is considered dead when it no longer has native speakers. Latin's decline began as the Roman Empire fragmented, and the vernacular languages, what we now call the Romance languages, started to diverge from classical Latin in the late antiquity period. These languages, like Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian, are the closest living relatives to Latin, carrying its legacy forward in their grammar, vocabulary, and syntax. Now, is it possible to resurrect a dead language? While a language like Latin can't be revived in the same way it was once spoken, it continues to live on through these Romance languages and through its extensive use in academia, legal systems, and the Catholic Church. Efforts to preserve a dying language typically involve documentation, teaching, and encouraging its use in daily life and in the arts. Latin, an indelible font of linguistic heritage, has profoundly permeated the English language, a phenomenon significantly augmented by the Norman conquest of 1066. This momentous event heralded the infusion of Latin-based French words into the vernacular of England. A plethora of commonly used English words bear the indelible mark of this Latin ancestry. For instance, video, a direct borrowing, means "I see" in Latin, echoing its use in modern English. Data, plural of datum, originally signified something given in Latin, now a cornerstone in the language of information. The word maximum, derived from Latin's maximus, meaning greatest, seamlessly transitioned into English, retaining its superlative essence. Agenda, the plural form of agendum, which in Latin means something to be done, resonates in today's lexicon as a list of items to be discussed or acted upon. Similarly, alumni, the masculine plural of alumnus, signifying foster son or pupil in Latin, has been adopted in English to refer to graduates of an institution. These examples, among countless others, illustrate the intricate and profound influence of Latin, a testament to the dynamic evolution and rich tapestry of the English language. Latin also bequeathed a rich treasure of literature, philosophy, and scientific knowledge to the world. Its precise and expressive nature made it an ideal language for these disciplines. This legacy is particularly evident in scientific and technical vocabulary, where Latin words and structures are still very much in use. The story of Latin is not just a tale of a language's birth, growth, and eventual decline. It's a narrative interwoven with the human experience, echoing the rise and fall of empires, the evolution of cultures, and the unrelenting march of time. As we trace Latin's pathway, we find ourselves exploring the very nature of language and identity. Latin's golden age coincided with the Roman Empire's expansion, and it became the lingua franca across Europe. This era of Latin, known as Classical Latin, was marked by great literary and scholarly works. Figures like Cicero, Virgil, and Ovid used Latin not just to communicate, but to elevate language into an art form. The elegance, precision, and clarity of classical Latin made it an ideal medium for the expression of complex ideas and narratives. However, as the Roman Empire weakened, so did the uniformity of Latin. It began to fragment into various dialects. These dialects, influenced by local languages and cultures, slowly morphed into the distinct Romance languages we recognize today. This process was gradual, spanning several centuries, and it reflects a fundamental truth about languages. They are dynamic, evolving entities, shaped by the people who speak them and the circumstances they face. The concept of a dead language, particularly in the case of Latin, is fascinating. While Latin ceased to be a native language, it transformed into a scholarly and liturgical language. It became the language of the educated elite, of science, literature, and religion, particularly within the Roman Catholic Church. This transition from a spoken to a scholarly language preserved Latin in a unique state of suspended animation, where it no longer evolved as living languages do. Modern efforts to preserve endangered languages often look to Latin's trajectory for inspiration. The key lies in fostering a living context for the language, encouraging its use in communities, integrating it into education, and promoting its cultural and historical significance. Preservation is not just about maintaining a record of the language, but keeping its cultural and intellectual legacy alive. Latin's influence on English and its ancestor languages is profound and multifaceted. English, a Germanic language at its core, absorbed a vast number of Latin words through its contact with French after the Norman conquest. This infusion of Latin into English enriched its vocabulary, giving it a remarkable ability to express nuanced and complex concepts. This blending of Germanic and Latin elements is part of what makes English so versatile and diverse. In education, Latin has traditionally been seen as a foundation for the understanding of not only the Romance languages, but also the structure of language itself. Studying Latin provides insight into the mechanics of language, grammar, syntax, and etymology. This knowledge enriches one's understanding of English and other languages, providing a deeper appreciation for the nuances and complexities of linguistic expression. In the realm of law and science, Latin's precision and universality have made it a lingua franca. Many legal terms, like habeas corpus or pro bono, are directly drawn from Latin, reflecting the Roman Empire's long-lasting influence on legal systems. Similarly, in science and medicine, Latin provides a universal nomenclature for species, anatomical terms, and pharmaceuticals. This use of Latin ensures clarity and consistency across languages and cultures, an essential aspect in global disciplines. Latin's influence on English is particularly noteworthy. It's not just the volume of Latin-derived words in English, but the nature of these words. They often represent concepts in fields like philosophy, science, and law, areas where precision and clarity are paramount. Words like democracy, philosophy, and quantum have their roots in Latin and Greek, reflecting the language's role in shaping the intellectual discourse of the Western world. However, the influence of Latin goes beyond mere vocabulary. It has shaped the very syntax and structure of English over the centuries. The flexibility and richness of English are partly due to this blending of the Germanic structure with Latin vocabulary and linguistic concepts. As we consider the preservation of dying languages, Latin offers both hope and caution. While Latin has been preserved in a scholarly context, its evolution and natural use in daily conversation ceased long ago. This underscores the importance of not just preserving a language in books and classrooms, but in keeping it alive in speech and culture. Languages are living entities that thrive on use and evolution, adapting to the changing needs and circumstances of their speakers. As we reach the conclusion of our profound exploration into the legacy of Latin, it's clear that this ancient language is far more than a relic of a bygone era. It is a vibrant thread woven intricately into the warp and woof of our linguistic and cultural history. Latin, in its majestic beating from the heart of Rome to the corners of our modern world, teaches us about the enduring power of language to connect, to shape, and to transform. It reminds us that languages are not merely tools of communication, but living, breathing entities that carry with them the essence of civilizations, the wisdom of ages, and the soul of humanity. The story of Latin, from its rise in the Roman Empire to its subtle influence on the languages we speak today, is a poignant reminder of our shared heritage, a common thread that links us to our ancestors and guides our understanding of the world. As we ponder the echoes of Latin in our daily speech, in our laws, our sciences, and our arts, we recognize the indomitable spirit of human expression and the unbreakable bond of human knowledge that transcends time and space. So, as we bid farewell to this episode, let us carry forward the lessons of Latin, not just as a language of the past, but as a beacon that illuminates our path towards a future rich with understanding, connection, and the unending quest for knowledge. Until we meet again, let us continue to explore, to learn, and above all, to remain ever human. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm AI David Bowles, wishing you a rich day and a fine tomorrow. Be a human meme.
Human Meme, the podcast with a plan. Serious talk, research deep, more than just a fan. A conversation rich and true that'll make you think and smile. Where wisdom meets hilarity and stays for quite a while. To journey through our culture in a way you've never seen. Unpack the world around us in the realm of human. Oh yeah.